From each happily ever after, every wish upon a star. Let's break down the movies that shaped who we are. From memory lane to now and everything in between. The most famous of films to the ones we've never seen. Decade by decade, all the times we laughed and cried. And with a little pixie dust, they will all take flight. Reliving the feelings, and we're trying our very best. And if they mean the same to you, please be our guest. So hop aboard, we would love to have you as we hang with a certain mouth, the whole gang too. If you love nostalgia stuff, we hope this does the trick. Thanks for joining us as we deep dive the magic.
Hi, and welcome back to the Deep Diving the Magic podcast. I am KJ.
And I'm Jeffrey. And if you can't tell by us being dressed to impress here, we have made it to our 50th episode. 50 Disney feature-length films.
50.
50.
I'm dressed to bring it back to number 1 because we've gone from 1 to 50.
We sure have. And I'm dressed for 50. So we have made it from the 30s to the 40s to the 50s, and now we're in the 60s, but we are on the 50th episode. Faye has decided to come join us for our 50th episode.
Yeah.
So, since we've made it to 50, like we sometimes do when we get to milestone episodes, would you like to start off by reading your list upon a star currently up to 50 films?
Up to 50 films. So far, I have Sleeping Beauty, Dumbo, Lady and the Tramp, The Three Caballeros, The Shaggy Dog, Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Fantasia, Toby Tyler or 10 Weeks with the Circus, and Saludos Amigos.
And my list upon a star up to 50 films is Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Pinocchio, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Sleeping Beauty, Lady and the Tramp, The Three Caballeros, Cinderella, and The Shaggy Dog. Now, will that list change for this 50th film? But before that, I thought it'd be fun to do some facts and some questions about our 50 films so far for our 50th episode. So, KJ, how many films total do you think have made our list upon a star so far? Like, keep in mind, the first 10 automatically made it.
I don't know. I would say it's different for both of us.
Yep, this is total so far.
So total for the both of us together, or
Yep.
just
Yep.
for me and then you?
No, total for the both of us together first.
So I would say all of them have made it, at least at some point, almost. Well, not all of them, but
I was gonna say,
not
I did
well.
not
Okay.
put 10 Who Dared on the list.
I don't 30.
So there's been 24 films that have
overestimated
that have
32.
made it on our list upon a star before, which means that there has been 14 that have been removed by better of our favorites. Because again, remember the first 10 automatically made
And
it.
it gets hard.
It's going to get harder.
Yeah.
So, I have put one film
Okay.
on my list upon a star that you, KJ, has not put on your list upon a star. What film is that?
No idea.
And that film was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Made my list upon a star, but did not make your list upon a star.
Okay.
And then, likewise, 2 films that you've put on that I have not put on.
Okay.
Can you guess those 2 films? So one was Melody Time,
Okay, yeah.
which was the first one to just make it just for one of us.
Okay.
And then the other one is still on your list now with Toby Tyler, or 10 Weeks in the
Oh, you didn't
Circus.
Toby Tyler?
I did not.
No, Toby Tyler was still one of my favorites.
It was good. I liked it a lot, but like you mentioned, this is going to get hard because now it's, and we're only on 50.
Okay.
And we have these very strong lists already. So, speaking of strong lists and will films make the list, our 50th deep dive that we are dressed so lovingly for um is from December 21st, 1960, last film of the year 1960. The 50th Disney feature length film is a film called The Swiss Family Robinson.
Yeah.
Now, before we get to your synopsis, The Swiss Family Robinson has the most all-star cast out of any film that we've watched so far. Now, there is actors or actresses in this film that were in Old Yeller, The Light in the
Not
Forest.
Fess Parker though.
That's right. That's right. Not Fess Parker. Old Yeller, A Light in the Forest, Third Man on the Mountain, Kidnapped, Darby O'Gill and the Little People, The Shaggy Dog, which we have our Shaggy Dog over there trying to make a commotion, Pollyanna, and
Trying to find more food.
Toby Tyler, plus many films that are coming up soon. I mean, a lot of them are because what's that? Kevin Mucci is in it,
Mooch.
but every single person that is in this film from the family,
Mhm.
plus some other characters, have been in other Disney films so far. The most all-star cast. And then also, before I throw it over to you,
Mhm.
there is the attraction in Adventureland at Walt Disney World.
Yes.
And I want to know if this film helped sway your thoughts on that attraction.
I'm gonna have to do it again.
All right. So before I can, and I can keep talking about this, but would you like to start us off with a synopsis and any opening thoughts before I keep going?
A shipwrecked family uses ingenuity to survive a deserted island.
A lot of ingenuity in this film, I would say.
That is the synopsis from Disney Plus. And it is also listed as an action and adventure and survival film.
That's right. Yeah, I would say it's all those for sure. It's way more
That's
action
what
than
it's listed as.
it's
on
way more
Disney Plus.
action than 10 Who Dared.
Way more.
So upon its release, The Swiss Family Robinson was a major success from both critics and audiences, and it remains as one of Disney's most beloved live action feature films.
Mhm.
Now, have you ever seen this before?
I have not ever seen it. Well, not to my knowledge.
Yeah, me
I don't
neither.
think I've ever seen it
Me
before.
neither. Which is weird because
So I
again,
was
we have
kind
this
of-
VHS tape.
Yeah, I was kind of looking forward to it and kind of dreading it at the same time.
Okay. Because of the attraction.
Yes.
So before we're talking, would you like to talk about the attraction?
Yes.
It's one long queue
Yes.
in the Florida heat.
Um,
You can visit the treehouse, basically. Go ahead.
yeah, so the treehouse is in Adventureland, at Walt Disney World at Magic Kingdom. And you basically just walk up some stairs and more stairs and more stairs into a treehouse. And you can see the families, different
The
rooms and
all-star
stuff.
cast.
But talking about a treehouse marvel, the iconic treehouse was built in a 200-foot tall Saman tree and took months to construct in Disneyland.
It's not even there. Well, they changed the theming of it there. Yeah.
Yeah. So after filming, Disney left the treehouse standing as a tourist attraction, though it was eventually dismantled due to safety concerns. That actually was not what I was going to say. So that is the actual one. But somewhere in my notes I was talking, oh, the theme park influence. So like you said, they do have the treehouse in Adventureland, like we were talking about at Disney World. But there was also in 1962, they had the Swiss Family Treehouse in Disneyland. However, in 1999, the Disneyland version was rethemed to Tarzan's Treehouse, but still retained much of the original structure.
And it's changing again to, I guess it's called like Disneyland's Treehouse now or something.
Poor Tarzan, they never give him anything.
We're not there yet.
Anyway.
You can save your venting for when we're there. So this is based on a book by John David Weiss.
Much better than some of the other books we've had at movies after.
So, any other opening facts before we dive in?
Um, yes. So, you keep talking about the animals,
Hmm.
and there were over 500 animals, including elephants, tigers, zebras, and even ostriches that were used in this film. Animal trainer
wild.
Pat Patterson coordinated their involvement in many scenes required careful choreography to avoid incidents.
There were so many,
Yes.
and this is like before, like they could have or green screened everything.
Yeah. And then there is a missing family member.
Okay.
So, in the original novel, there is a fourth son, Franz, who was omitted from the film adaptation to streamline the story.
They love to have boys. Um, he stayed home. He was seasick. You ready to dive in?
Sure.
All right. So we start off on a ship. During the opening credits, um, it's the ship is braving some nasty weather and
Mhm.
some rough sea. There's some intense music playing, and then it lists the all-star cast, like we were talking about.
Mhm.
Um, we see the ship. I'm sorry. We see the family fighting to keep the ship afloat while screaming for help.
Mhm.
They crash into a rock, and then the next day, after the storm has passed, the ship is in horrible, horrible condition,
Mhm.
and the family breaks its way out of like one of the cabins. So
Mhm.
that makes me wonder, were they prisoners or were they passengers?
The way
Thoughts?
they were dressed, I would definitely say they were prisoners because they were moving.
Then
That
then
that
they
was
were passengers then. They were going to New
yeah,
Guinea.
they
That
were
makes sense then.
they were totally moving to New Guinea, and they were gonna build a house
So,
once they got there, and one of the sons had overheard the captain and his first mate talking about something about the status of the boat and the weather that they were heading into.
yeah, there was none of them left. It was just them.
But then you will hear that um later that they were basically pushed into the storm by pirates
Hmm. Yeah, we'll get there on that one.
that had caused this whole incident. So my thought is, where did the people, the captain and his first mate go? Where did they go?
Maybe they got abducted by pirates. There's lots and lots of pirates. We'll get there on that. But
But they all look like the same pirates, like the same group of pirates. I don't know.
Mhm.
Anyway.
So there's parents and three boys.
Hmm.
As we get going, we'll discuss what their names are as we kind of get into the film.
Hmm.
Um, the youngest boy is our friend Kevin Cochran or whatever his name is, Corcoran,
Hmm.
that has been in a lot of films lately, including Moochie from I'm sorry, from the Shaggy Dog. So of
Hmm.
course, right away he finds the dogs that were on the ship because
Always.
that
He
dude
always
loves animals,
loves
especially dogs.
dogs.
Um, they take different things from the ship. They take compasses, they take guns. There's different like stuff to make sure, to help them survive what
Hmm.
comes next. They swing to a life raft, but then the mother falls in the water. But they all get on the life raft, and
That they made out of barrels. So they cut the barrels in half and used those as their base for
yep,
the raft.
and they leave the dogs and the animals on the ship, but Moochie, of course, throws a fit,
Yeah.
and the two dogs jump off the ship and swim to the raft. Uh, and of course, the last time we had swimming pups was the Shaggy Dog, and the other kid,
Hmm.
the other middle brother, was from the Shaggy Dog, and so
And Old Yeller.
yep, like I mentioned, all-star cast.
Hmm.
Um, so the family has a hard time controlling the raft in the rough tide, but they do make it ashore. They do make it ashore to the island.
Hmm.
Um, the dogs take off running, and Moochie sees and then rides a very large and old-looking turtle.
Hmm.
So that's animals number
A tortoise.
tortoise. Yep. Um, and the family kneels and they pray and they discuss shelter.
Hmm.
They attempt to build a tent and they attempt to find food. Um, but what's the next thing we see? we see a tiger creeping up and watching them because why wouldn't there be a tiger on this island?
Yes.
There's also a giant lizard in the tent when the mother was in there.
Hmm.
And then the first night, the father he decides that he's going to stay awake. He's got a lot going on. He's stressed, and there's a Disney storm approaching. He's contemplating and apologizing for how they got there, but then the Disney storm hits in full effect. It's really, really nuts. So they all cram into their little lean-to tent,
Hmm.
and the mom's like, "Go back to sleep," or what did she say? She was like,
Just go back to sleep, and they're like, "I'm wet, I'm
Yeah.
soaked," and it's like,
it was like
can
monsoon.
you imagine just like basically
I mean, I went
having
camping once for
a
a
whole bucket of water just dumped on
Yeah.
you, and your mom just been like, "Go back to sleep," and you're like, "Are we even going to survive? Sure, let me go back to sleep." I don't know.
So a mother's a mother. The next morning, they go back to the ship to grab more supplies, including a pig that doesn't want to be wrangled. And they then see a ship in the distance, and
Mhm.
they're like all excited. They're yelling ahoy at it, trying to be spotted. But then unfortunately, they find out that it's a pirate ship, potentially the same pirate ship that caused them to go into the storm in the first place.
Yeah.
We then cut to the ship, and we see some very stereotypical pirates that the Disney company in later years got in trouble for stereotyping. Very stereotypical pirates, and there's a cannon fight. But then all of a sudden, the pirate ship decides to leave because they see that the ship that the Robinsons were monsooned on
Mhm.
had a flag warning of Black Death. I didn't understand this.
So
I know what Black Death is, but I don't
yeah,
understand.
so the dad actually put, because earlier you see the middle son talking to the dad about, "Oh, do you think we should put up a distress flag?" And then his dad was
I
like,
missed this.
"I don't think we should put up a distress flag because anybody that sees a ship on the rocks is going to assume that we're in distress."
Oh, I thought that was like already there. I was
Because
so confused.
the middle son is just so smart. It wasn't already there.
Okay. He is
Um,
smart.
yes,
He
he's
is
just
the
so
he's
smart,
the
but he
studious one.
kind of gets on everybody's nerves with how smart he is.
Hey, I'm a middle child.
I'm not. Well, you're not the smart one. Anyway, so
Rude.
I'm not being rude. I'm just saying, like, he's overly smart to where, like, he gets on people's nerves. So when they see the pirates, he doesn't realize they're pirates at first. So he's trying to get their attention, like, "Hey, we're stranded here." And then the dad and the older son are like, "Wait, aren't those the pirates that chased us into the storm?" And then they're like, "Yeah." And so the dad tells them basically all to get down. So the pirates are coming at them, and they're trying to like get ready for battle. And then all of a sudden the pirates start turning away, and then one of the sons looks up and they're like, "Oh." And the dad looks over at the middle son that's so smart, and he's like, "Yeah, so you're not the only one that's smart." So he put up a quarantine flag
Yeah.
that basically lets any other ships around know that somebody on the ship has the Black Plague.
Black Death, yeah.
Well, basically was what he's talking about, and that they're under quarantine right now. So anybody in their right mind is not going to be like, "Oh, I'm just going to go on aboard." So that's why they had turned away. So the dad had bought them some time. That's why.
Jeeves.
And I'm assuming that he saw, because down in one of the cabins they had kind of like a poster, but it had all the different flag signs and what they
Mhm.
meant. So I'm assuming maybe that's where he got it from, or maybe he already knew. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, I was quite confused at that. I was like, did that all the people go? Did they all die from Black Death? That makes sense.
Yeah, he was just tricking them so that way they would think that somebody had it and they wouldn't want to come mess with them.
So they then create like a water parade of like bringing all the animals to land.
Hmm.
But then of course,
A sea turtle.
not yet. First there's a shark.
They're sharks.
Yep. So there's sharks come because why wouldn't there be? And they're worried about all there's so much livestock and stuff in the
Yeah,
water.
there's a cow, there's a donkey
Mhm.
swimming on the side of the things, and then like the ducks and stuff are in the barrels
Yeah.
that they have.
So, but there's some sharks that are going to attack, but they decide that they they shoot the guns on the sharks, but the sharks continue to attack. But they are able to scare away the sharks, and then they acquire a sea turtle to help them pull them ashore. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, the smart son lassoed a sea turtle, and the sea turtle somehow had all this like superhuman strength and starts pulling all of them to
Including
shore.
the animals.
Mhm.
Like this, like so. We're on shore, and the youngest son, Moochie Boy, his name's Francis. He goes missing because he's trying to catch an elephant. Because yet again,
He tries to catch
of
everything.
course he is. So yep, he's trying to catch an elephant.
No matter what movie he's in, he
He's-
tries to catch
he
everything.
tries to like he built like one of those like stereotypical like from a tree traps where you step in it.
Yeah, come here, I've got some sugar cane for you.
So he's trying to catch the elephant, baby elephant.
Have anything else? Just some sugar
Yeah.
cane.
So this is the first time that I wrote animal budget in this film must have been huge because there's so many animals.
It's actually funny that you say that because it was filmed on an island of Tobago. I guess I'm saying that correctly, which was chosen for its lush landscape. But because of the remote like setting, it like posed logistical challenges for like transporting the materials and the animals to this island. So it's funny that you say that. They had to have a huge budget.
It's
They
like
wouldn't have to.
it's like the Disney film that we'll get to in many years called Operation Dumbo Drop. They just had to like drop the animals in. All right.
Yes.
So but then he does catch this elephant, but then a tiger begins to sneak up on them. The tiger from earlier, him and the elephant, and they're like, uh-oh. So then the tiger prepares to pounce on a tied up elephant and Francis, but he tries to
And he just left the baby elephant tied up.
well, he is nervous, so he tries to throw something at the wild animal, and then the two dogs attack the tiger. Because they clearly have never seen Old Yeller, which is wild because these actors were in the film Old Yeller. I think even the mother was in Old Yeller, but either way.
Yeah, I think it was her.
But the dogs are able to escape the tiger. They're able to escape. And then Francis asks his mother if he can keep the elephant, which the family then uses the elephant to use the elephant power to like raise up the wood to build up their new
Treehouse.
They're building a house in a tree.
Which
Father's
mom is not happy about.
no,
Because she's like, this means you think we're going to be here for a while,
Correct.
doesn't it?
Father says that they can't wait around waiting for a ship, and that it's like a necessity to build a place.
Yeah.
Which I agree with because there's so many animals. They're building hammocks up there for like while they're building, but then we see that there's monkeys near the hammocks. Francis, of course, wants to be their friend. Francis then catches a monkey as a pet, and the mother is very stressed out about all this. She's stressed out about them swinging. They're stressed out
So
about
far, he has caught 2 animals.
Yeah, I mean, he's just dude loves animals.
So far, he's caught 2.
But then it cuts to whether it's a few days later, whether it's a few weeks later, we don't know. But it
Yeah,
cuts.
the timing in this movie, it really doesn't tell you because it kind of seems like it's overnight,
Mhm.
but
No, there's
surely
no
it's
way.
not overnight.
There's no way. So the next thing we see is that the family is leading a blindfolded mother to this gorgeous completed treehouse. It's huge. It's bigger than houses. They did a heck of a job. I wrote it puts the Magic Kingdom one to shame. It's got running water. It's got a cooler. There's like the parents' suite that has a built-in skylight and Captain curtains. This is when I was doing my notes earlier, I started laughing and you looked at me. A bunch of tropical birds come to join them because the animal budget. And I wrote, well, that makes sense because the treehouse is across the street from the Tiki Room in Adventureland. So they just kind of came over to see what was going on.
That can make sense, I guess.
Because
Because
tropical serenade. But this is also when I wrote that it must have been in the job description. Now on that not only does that this has to be filled with Disney All-Stars, but they have to be okay with not wearing a shirt because these dudes never wear shirts.
They do.
Oh my gosh. Do you like if
They
this was like
but they're like really big flowy tunic shirts when they do wear
if this was
shirts.
like a pie chart
or a vest, because sometimes the older son wears like a vest.
if this was like a pie chart
But when they're
of like
building the house, they don't
of
have
like
shirts on.
times that dudes wore shirts versus dudes not wearing shirts, the piece of the pie of like when they wear shirts would be like acorns and like if it was like, if it was a pizza, like pick up like the most like disgusting piece of the thing. That's like they never wore shirts ever.
That made no sense, but okay.
Think of a pizza pie. You go back to sleep.
Yes, but then you're like, think of acorns or something disgusting.
Yeah,
That's that piece of
Because
pie.
that's that piece of the pie.
You mean a small piece?
Go back to sleep.
You explained to me how a disgusting piece of the pie is the
Would you
smallest
eat
piece.
acorns?
Yeah.
So like if that whole pizza was like pepperoni and everything you love, like
But who's to say that that's going to be the small piece?
no, it's the one piece left.
Just say it's a small piece. That's
Oh,
all you had to
Wait,
say.
no, I'm right. Deep dive into my Gmail. These dudes never wore shirts. If they had this awesome tuck shirt, they would
All right,
wear this
let's
shirt. Look at this tuck shirt.
Okay, let's speed it up. Buddy.
So the middle child talks about he's the smart one, that there must have been a land bridge causing all these different animals to come from Africa to Asia. Francis continues his streak of trying to catch animals because now he's trying to catch and ride some ostriches.
Mhm.
And the boys rope swing to a waterfall and they ride it down, of course, not wearing shirts. They mimic the monkeys. You could tell the father's loving this. And he thinks that this is the life that they were meant to live on this earth.
Mhm.
But the mother's worried because the boys will never be able to get married and have a future. What a thought for the times. But the father then convinces the mother to let the two older boys go exploring in a small boat to kind of like see the rest of the island and see if there's a way out. Even though he just built this ridiculous house.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, because they're all kind of itching to go out and see kind of what the world
Mhm.
has, and he's explaining to her that they're not going to be with us forever. You have to let them live their lives.
So they go off and they explore different parts of the island, not wearing shirts. They're talking about girls and not caring what age they are, which is kind of a creepy thing to say. And they spot some pirate ships, and same ones from earlier. And at the same time as this, their raft gets flipped over and destroyed by the rough tide. And we see that the pirates, they have two captives. There's an older gentleman and a cabin boy.
Mhm.
And the two boys from the family, they spot the captives and they plan to sneak down and save them. The boys untie the cabin boy while the pirates are being distracted doing pirate things. They're like sword fighting and gambling.
Mhm.
Um,
At one point, it starts looking like they're stabbing somebody
yeah,
in their group when they're freeing
yeah. So these
the person.
the older gentleman, though, and you might have a better say on this than me. The older gentleman decides that he's going to stay behind because he can be ransomed
And go
off.
get help.
Oh, okay. Can you? Because I missed that.
Yeah, so he said, leave me because they can take me and get ransom. So they're less likely to hurt me because they'll get something out of it. But take him,
The little gal.
and then
Yeah,
when they ransom me off, I'll get help.
I guess that makes sense. I was quite confused.
Okay.
The family boys escape with the cabin boy through the forest. The cabin boy falls and gets injured and gets carried by the boys as they flee the pirates. They successfully hide in these like large bamboo trees, whatever stocks, like I don't know what you call the bamboo things, from the pirate troops. But then they blow their own cover and they have to run some more. But then they successfully flee the pirates, and we see that the pirate ships are leaving. So we see that the pirate ships are leaving. So then they're on their way. They're on their trying to get back to the treehouse. And the next morning they discuss that they have to cross the water on this venture. And of course the boys take off their shirts, and because it's in their job description. But the cabin boy pulls their own gun off because clearly they don't want to take off their shirt. and they're nervous. There's a lot going on.
Says he doesn't know how to swim.
Yep. But they are able to wrestle away the gun. The younger one almost gets shot, and the older boy takes off the cabin boy's hat to reveal
Short hair.
it's a girl. It's a girl.
How ironic, because they were just talking about how they wish they could see any girl.
Yeah, no matter the age, and it's the girl. It's the female actress from The Third Man on the Mountain, Darby O'Gill.
Yeah.
More Disney All Stars, which is crazy that they didn't recognize her because the older brother was literally the lead with her in Third Man on the Mountain.
Well, I think it's because it's a whole different movie
yeah,
that
the
he
whole
wouldn't
different-
recognize her. But she talks about how her grandfather made her cut her hair and dress like that, so that way they wouldn't hurt her.
the pirates wouldn't know she was a girl.
Yeah.
We also learned that her name is Roberta.
Yep.
They set a fire to dry off their clothes, and the boys are just flirting. They are enjoying their time with Roberta.
Hmm.
We learned that Roberta is not a fan of all the animals and the lizards they encounter on the journey.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of animals on our journey, we see this giant anaconda. Someone called the jaguar from a few movies ago. But so we see this giant anaconda. She's definitely not a fan of that. Neither am I. It attacks the oldest brother, Fritz. I didn't announce his name until now. The oldest brother, the guy from all the other films, his name is Fritz, and the youngest brother, or the middle brother, his name is Ernst. And Ernst is luckily able to attack it with a knife, saving his brother barely. I wrote, "Good thing they don't have their shirts on to get in the way." Did I mention that the animal budget for this non-animated film must have been wild, like you said?
Yeah. So I thought something that was interesting because when like you said, it was based off of a book, and apparently the book focused more on a moral tale and Christian values,
Which they were
where
praying in the beginning, so I guess that it makes sense that they could.
where Disney's adaptation added romantic subplots, which like particularly introducing the love triangle between the girl and the two older brothers. That I don't think was in the book.
It's in there.
I've not read the book, so I'm not 100% sure,
Yeah.
but from what I read, it doesn't sound like it's in the book.
So, after they survived the snake, they realized that they lost their compass and they don't know where to look for it.
Hmm.
So clearly, they need a compass.
Hmm.
Um,
And the girl kept wanting to go back to the beach
Mhm.
because that's where her grandfather knew she would be.
yes. They begin to. Yep, this is where. Yep. They begin to argue over the stress of the journey. Because they're getting lost. Roberta hurt her ankle, or it's either her ankle or her leg.
Hmm.
But they have to keep going on. But the other two want to go back. Like Fritz is like, we have to keep going, and the other two are like, no, we have to go back, which is crazy because clearly they don't remember all the giant snakes and animals that they just passed.
Hmm.
The two boys end up fist fighting, but they do decide to continue on with the older brother.
Hmm.
But then we hear a lot of interesting animal noises.
Hmm.
And what do we see?
A zebra.
A zebra that was caught in either quicksand or mud.
And all I could think was, what kind of freaking island are we
Yeah.
on?
They like, but
For once, the youngest doesn't catch an animal. The oldest does.
so I want to talk about island that they're on. This zebra is being attacked by hyenas and cheetahs.
A cheetah.
And there's vultures because again, this animal budget is humongous.
Yeah. So we didn't mention it, but the zebra is stuck in quicksand.
Yeah. It kind of like reminds me of that scene from the Neverending Story. That's sad. We won't go there. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, that's not Disney, so never mind. Deep dive into magicpod@gmail.com if I just triggered something from your 90s. So this zebra is trapped. So they start to like throw rocks and stuff to distract the other animals from the poor zebra, and it worked, surprisingly. And then after some much struggling, they're able to free the zebra from its trap, from its muddy trap. And the next scene, we are back at the treehouse with the rest of the family, and they're all singing Christmas songs around the piano because, of course, there's a piano up there. They got the piano off
Yeah.
off of the ship and
They
got it up
somehow
there.
got that off the ship and then back in one piece.
Yep, that must have been like the elephant power or whatever.
I don't
So,
know.
and like the mother's upset that like one of the keys is like out of tune or whatever, and you got this darn thing off of a ship up into a treehouse. So they're all around and they're singing Christmas songs, but the family's stressed out and like really upset because the two boys haven't returned yet. The mother is visually upset
Mhm.
that the boys haven't returned yet. But then we hear Christmas singing back to them,
Mhm.
and we see the two boys and Roberta
And a zebra.
and the zebra, yep, have returned safely in time for Christmas. Just in time for our next film, which is a Christmas movie. But we'll get there.
Mhm.
So then they all meet Roberta, but then the family, the parents are concerned that the pirates will come back looking for their prisoner, Roberta. But
The
they're
dad
like,
is concerned.
they're like,
Mom
no,
really doesn't care.
she's a girl, like they won't even know, and they're like, no, he's like they're gonna come back. Um, so then they discuss different kinds of traps to set to save them from the pirates. They're gonna dig holes, they're gonna put
Mhm.
animals in these holes. They got it all. They're gonna like build like an avalanche, they're gonna build bombs, they got it all figured out. In the meantime, the mother dresses up Roberta in some lady clothes, and the boys are spellbound by this. Thoughts on this?
They were spellbound before.
I know, but then she shows up with like the Sleeping Beauty dress that changes colors, and they're all
Okay. Yes.
um, so, and then they all dance to the organ music. The two older brothers, they're fighting over who can dance with her, and you and I both said at the same time that the middle child had practiced with this from the Shaggy Dog.
Yeah, and I said at least he didn't turn into a dog this time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was the exact same dance he was doing with that movie though.
Yep. So then the next day, they decided that they're going to blow up their wrecked ship so the pirates can't see them.
Mhm.
Um, but that this also means that they no longer have hope of sailing away.
Mhm.
So like they are becoming more and more in their island home.
Yeah.
Ernst, the middle boy, is talking to Roberta about how he wants to move to London. I think it's London, right?
Mhm.
He wants to move with her afterwards, after they get rescued, to go to school because he wants to go to school. That's what I've always been talking about. He's the smart one.
Mhm.
And this is where I noticed that Ernst also has very white teeth for being stuck on an island for an undisclosed amount of time. And then Fritz, he calls Roberta away, the older brother. Again, he's not wearing a shirt,
Mhm.
which upsets Ernst. And then at the same time as this, our buddy Francis, Moochie, he accidentally lights off an explosive but throws it off the cliff just in time, which causes the rest of the family to,
Coconut explosion.
yeah, close to coconut bomb, causing the rest of the family to think that it's pirates. And then after this, after they realize it's not pirates, Fritz tells Roberta that he doesn't want to go to school like his brother. Again, not wearing a shirt. He wants to get off the island and he wants to make it to New Guinea and he wants to get land and he wants to build a house.
Mhm.
Well, Roberta says she is going to London, which then upsets Fritz.
So he thinks she picked the other brother.
But
Oh.
then she,
I'm not gonna lie, the love triangle got on my nerves in this movie.
yeah, I mean, in the last couple films that she was in, I like liked her character the most.
Mhm.
Remember, but so like especially in Third Man on the Mountain, she was awesome. But
Mhm.
so then, in a change of things, she decides that she's gonna start flirting, and she starts flirting with Fritz, and she's asking him to teach her how to shoot, because clearly she prefers Fritz, maybe because he's never wears a shirt.
Maybe it's because she already had a relationship with him in another
That's
movie.
true. And then they don't get to shoot the guns, but they almost kiss.
Mhm.
And it's right here where I said, I hope that they were able to build a toothbrush. Since they were almost kissing.
They had all sorts of other things.
Yeah.
They had toothbrushes.
Ernst breaks it up, and he's dressed all fancy. You want to talk about how he was dressed up?
He had, like-
Kind of like me with my
He
tuck
had
shirt
like
on today.
pirate pants on.
Yeah, but he had like this like
Yeah,
nice.
tunic.
He had like a hat. Is that what it's called?
Hmm.
Like he had like a very fancy like bowler's hat that he like made because he was like
I
fancy.
don't know, he had a hat, but his shirt was like a tunicky,
Yeah.
flowy shirt.
Um, and then we also see that Roberta then just takes the gun and shoots it because she's already proficient at shooting. So that, like she didn't need
Him to show
him
her
to show
anything.
her. And then Francis almost falls in his own tiger trap. And then the two other boys get into a fist fight, causing Ernst to step on his bougie hat. And Francis just yells, "Fight, fight," and cheers them on like it's a high school brawl. The father sees this and he breaks it up, which makes Roberta upset because she's the one that caused it. And then the father decides that he's going to bring the family together by declaring the next day is a holiday and that they will be celebrating. And it is the first new holiday in New Switzerland. So that's what they're going to call it, New Switzerland.
Okay.
And then what do we see? We see the tiger that starts creeping again, looking for the meat. Roberta apologizes for causing the fight. The two almost kiss again, but they're interrupted by a tiger roar because Francis
Caught a
successfully caught a tiger. That's all he kept talking about. He's like, "I'm gonna catch a tiger.
Poor animal.
I'm gonna catch a tiger," and he catches a tiger in.
Was he caught the elephant? He
Mhm.
caught the monkey. He caught the ostrich. Now he's
now
caught a
catch-
tiger.
And he catches it in the hole, and they decide that they're going to cover this hole so that the pirates will fall in with the tiger. And everybody else thought he was crazy.
Well, Francis said, "I'm gonna cover it up so you go to sleep now."
Yeah. But everybody else thought he was crazy when he thought about catching this tiger.
So you go to sleep now.
Yep. We then see the pirates are back and they're searching. But then it cuts to the next day. The family is celebrating their new holiday. And they're going to start off with an animal race. Each person is riding a different animal. There's like someone riding an ostrich.
Someone attempting to ride an
Yep.
ostrich.
Some riding the elephant, riding a horse, riding a zebra. It looks super fun.
It was a donkey.
Okay, sorry, you're right. It looks super fun. I wrote down that even the monkey was riding the dog.
Yes.
But they decide to like start this race. That they're gonna fire a gun to start it, which then alerts the nearby pirates that we're close. So then Roberta's animal, because again they're on
A zebra.
these wild animals that are going all over the place.
She was on a zebra.
The zebra takes her running to the shore,
Mhm.
where she then spots the
He
approach.
falls off.
She falls off, but she spots the approaching pirates
Mhm.
coming right towards them.
And then runs back.
Yep. And there's lots and lots and lots of pirates. There's many pirates. There's more pirates in this film than the entire Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Like there are so many pirates.
But that's okay because they prepared for this.
That's true. The family's good.
So, speaking of them preparing for this, the pirate battle sequence here was the most expensive scenes Disney had filmed at the time, with its elaborate stunts and pyrotechnics at the time.
More than the animals?
It just says the battle sequence for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think the animals count as a sequence, but
No, but
yes.
like, yeah, I guess that's true. The family sneaks back to their treehouse,
Mhm.
but then Francis blows their cover by resorting back to his Moochie character, and he screams for the dog to get the dog back.
Yeah.
So the pirates spot them. Way to go, Francis! But they start using all like their like booby traps. They cut off the fake bridge. They shoot arrows and guns. But then there's more pirates. There's more traps. There's more pirates. There's more traps. And the pirates fall in the tiger hole.
Mhm.
Great job, Francis. But then there's
But the
more.
tiger was like, yes,
Yeah.
food,
But there's many, many more pirates.
fresh food.
Many on the run. Many, many more pirates coming. They use those coconut. Is that what those coconut explosives?
Yeah, it was coconut bombs they made.
Um,
So they look like you're like on Mario, your little black ball bomb, but it was a coconut
but
without feet.
it's not completely able to hold them off. They avalanche the logs. It's like a avalanche of logs. It slows them down. And this is where I wrote this family would make Kevin McAllister from Home Alone proud with all of their traps.
Maybe this is where he got his
It's
inspiration.
true. Which is actually funny because I have a reference for them in the next film too. But so making Home Alone proud, but the pirates continue to sneak up on the family with more and more that are coming to shore. Like they're not giving up.
Mhm.
And the pirates are demanding the return of the cabin boy. So Roberta decides that maybe she should turn herself in. And they're like, no, we're in too deep. You're part of us now. We're not letting you turn yourself in. So the pirates are sneaking up behind the family. So what happens? One of Francis's many wild
Fire alarms.
concoctions, pirate alarms.
I thought he called it a fire alarm. 'Cause I was
Pirate.
like, why would you have a fire
Oh,
alarm? But yeah.
Pirate alarm. His pirate alarm goes off, notifying the attack from behind. So then there's some hand-to-hand combat, and I can't stress to you when I say that there was so many pirates. This is where I guess their pirate budget was as big as their animal budget. The family is outnumbered, they're hurt, they're running out of ammo. But then all of a sudden, the pirates,
Mhm.
I believe they saw the Black Plague sign. No, I'm just kidding. They start to run away.
Mhm.
And we hear the sound of a ship's cannon fire, and we see that there's a ship firing at the pirates, and we learn that it's Roberta's grandfather who has returned with a new ship, and he sinks the pirates. So he makes good on what he said to them, which you proved to be that he was going to get ransomed off.
Mhm.
Then he went and got help when he comes back. So then we cut to their
And
bed.
he didn't go back to the beach where she was before, so she
No.
did good by going with them.
Yep. That's very true. I didn't think about that. So next scene, we see that they're all very nicely dressed, and we see that the grandfather is talking to and about accepting Ernst to return to Europe with him to go to school, and he offers to take the rest of the family to New Guinea to finish their trip. But the mother and father hug and decide that they want to stay there instead.
Yeah.
And Francis is so excited. So clearly they had a change of heart, and it's about like being happy where you are.
Yeah.
And they spent all this time and assets to build this thing. So they're gonna stay, and Francis is so excited. Ernst has a new fancy hat. And then the grandfather says that when the new island becomes when the island becomes a new colony, the father will one day be the governor. And then we see that a fancy dress Roberta and a fancy dress Fritz, they finally kiss while an upset Ernst watches on. And then in the most shocking decision of the entire movie, Fritz and Roberta decide to stay on the island with the family, while Ernst goes back with the grandfather by himself to go to school.
And he's fine with that because he would rather be smart.
Yep. And the film ends with, you'll never guess what the film ends with. Francis.
A Disney storm. I'm just kidding.
No. Francis chasing more animals
Yes.
to film this. And the end.
So
Go ahead.
I like this a lot better than I thought I was going to. I didn't know how I was gonna. I wanted to watch it, but I wasn't sure how I was gonna like it. But this film was a major hit for Disney, and it was the highest grossing film of 1960 and one of the top grossing films of the decade, solidifying Disney's success in live action filmmaking.
Which is good because they needed it after the last one.
Yes.
They needed it after the
Yes.
last one.
I guess this one kind of proved Disney still knows what he's doing.
So then speaking of that, any other notes you have or thoughts, or would you like to give us your ratings?
I don't know if I had. Oh, I did forget to mention because I had it in my notes, but I had it in a different section of my notes. So when the two boys before they found the girl, and they're talking about how they wish they could just see like a girl or whatever.
No matter the age.
One of them, the oldest one that was
Fritz.
also in Third Man of the Mountain, said, I would really like to see some mountains again.
Mhm.
And I was like, look, he's reminiscing on his old movie.
Yeah.
But
And then he sees her from the mountain.
yeah. And apparently this whole like deserted island thing from this film has basically been a legacy in pop culture by influencing countless movies, shows, and other movies since.
I mean, makes sense. Castaway.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the location, we talked about the pirates, the missing
So
family
many
member,
pirates.
um, talked about the theme park influence, the box office success. I think we hit all of my points that I was going to talk about.
So then how about your ratings?
So, IMDb rated it a 7.1 out of 10
That's
for them. You feel like?
well,
I
maybe
feel
not.
like that's usually this is like a 7 or a 6. So I gave it a 7. I did enjoy it. It wasn't by far my favorite, but I did not hate it.
Mm-hmm. So then,
It was interesting, I guess.
does it make your 50th because of this lovely dress in here? The 50th List Upon a Star.
It does.
It does.
It's gonna make my list.
It has been a while since we've had a list maker here.
I know,
So
and I really did enjoy it, but I mean, it's hard. It's hard, but I feel like this definitely has to make it on my list because of the way I felt after watching it.
it is hard
So-
because these lists are getting harder,
Oh,
and we still have so many years to go.
but it's only gonna come in at number 10. Sorry.
So then, would you like to read your 50th
List
List
upon a
Upon a
Star.
Star?
Sleeping Beauty, Dumbo, Lady and the Tramp, The Three Caballeros, The Shaggy Dog, Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Fantasia, Toby Tyler or 10 Weeks with the Circus, and Swiss Family Robinson.
So now it gets to me.
Mm.
I thought this movie was fantastic. It was so fun. It
Mm.
was so hard to take notes because I was paying attention. Like it was so lovable. I wrote, "Keep the attraction forever at Walt Disney World." Like this movie is superb.
Does it make you want to go back to the attraction?
I mean, I want to go back
To see it?
always.
But just to
Yeah.
see the attraction.
Yes.
Okay.
I probably saw this before, but actually paying attention, I was like, this is the movie.
Okay.
So it's gonna make my list.
Okay.
Our
Perfect.
50th list. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove our friends. Just replacing one with the other here. But I'm gonna slide these down.
Oh. So it's going pretty decently up there. Okay.
My 50th List Upon a Star is at number 1 is Peter Pan. 2, Alice in Wonderland. 3, Pinocchio, followed by The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Sleeping Beauty, Lady and the Tramp, our new friend, the Swiss Family Robinson, The Three Caballeros, and Cinderella. Goodbye, Shaggy Dog, for now. I really enjoyed this film.
That's a good one.
It was smile worthy.
Mhm.
So, clearly, we're in the month of December, and we're fastly approaching the holiday season.
Yes, we are.
So what a perfect fit and timing for our next film, which is a Christmas staple, no matter what anybody says. Someone on this podcast might not agree, but it's a Christmas staple.
I don't.
This film is bringing us to the
'Cause
year.
If that's the case, then this needed to be a Christmas movie as well.
I mean, we're in the month of December.
because they celebrated Christmas.
Well, no,
So this
no
was
spoilers.
this was a Christmas movie,
Hey, we're in the month of
according to
December.
Jeffrey's standards.
So,
Okay.
a Christmas movie, a Christmas staple in this household.
In Jeffrey's mind.
It is the first film of the year 1961. It is also the return of the Disney animated classics. It is a film that I hope lives up to the fun and wonderfulness of this last film, and not the same adventure from 10 Who Dared a few weeks ago. This is a film from the year 1961, and it is 101 Dalmatians. So shoot us an email about your thoughts on this film. Shoot us an email about how much they weren't wearing shirts. Shoot us an email about how you would describe a pie chart with acorns. But shoot us an email about if 101 Dalmatians is a Christmas movie. But again, we're deepdiveinthemagicpod@gmail.com. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram, TikTok. We're happy to have you.
Yes.
Any questions, please feel free to reach out, comment. But thank you. Thank you for sticking with us for 50 episodes. We have so many great more to go. I mean, I think that there's more than 50 just in the 1960s alone. So we got,
Trucking along.
a lot of more wonderful ones to come. Thank you for being part of our journey, and we can't wait to keep diving the magic with you. So, would you like to take us out?
Thanks for deep diving the magic.
Bye.
Bye.